All right, Mr. Mack, next question.
All right. I feel like we this is a good question.
I feel like it's a good question.
No,
I hope it's a good question.
The way I was thinking about it is something that we see a lot in production where we have to call somebody back because of this. Troy is asking, what is the worst mistake you can make when measuring yourself for a kilt?
Screwing up the length. If you...
Yep.
Max just like hard nodding back there. Yes. There's a reason on our website when you... And there should be on any kilt maker website, just for the record. This isn't just about us.
Right.
Where they ask you for your height. Because there is a general ratio between the length of your kilt, where, what your length of your kilt should be, and your height. Your kilt should be essentially 1/3 the length of your body. So, if you are 6 foot tall, 72 inches, 1/3 of that is 24. Period. So if you're 6 foot tall, you should be about a 24-inch length when you're wearing your kilt about 2 inches above the belly button to the middle of the knee. And for every 3 inches on the body, i.e. 6'3", you should be about 25. 5'9", you should be about 23. Now, people are built differently. Like Erik has a longer torso and shorter legs. So his kilt he wears his kilt a tiny bit lower because, he has a long torso.
Yep.
So if he's 6 foot tall, his kilt length might be 23.5 or 23 versus 24. So there are some variations or some variables there. But generally speaking, that is the biggest mistake we see most often. But that's also why we put the height measurement in there as a requirement. Because if you're off more than like a half inch, or at most, if it's an inch off, we're going to call you or email you and say, hey, are you sure? Because I can't stretch this and make it longer if it's too short for you. This is custom. Don't screw it up. The other one I would say is which we can't really account for, is the waist measurement. It's pulling it snug enough so that it won't just fall down, but it's still comfortable to wear. You don't want your love handles on the side kind of flexing in where you gotta suck in the whole time you're wearing the kilt. But at the same time, you don't want it so loose that it just falls down to your ankles. So that would be the secondary thing, but that's also why kilts have straps with 5 holes spanning about 3 inches.
Right.
So
Other
thoughts?
I'm not going to add anything except that it's measure twice, cut once. Exactly. Just be careful of all your measurements. Whenever possible, do them more than once. Get a second pair of eyes on them. You get somebody who you trust, who can help you take them, when you do it. There are various tips and tricks for taking your measurements. Use all of them. I used to recommend the towel trick to people all the time, and you can describe that. But there are various ways to make sure you can feel confident before you place the order. Now, that said, again, a good kilt maker, whether it's an individual artisan or a company like ours, should be available to consult with you if there's a problem. And sometimes I feel like we should have like a big red button and a fire alarm down in sales. There's like, we got to call back on the length. And the length alarm goes off. But because it is a very common mistake, because it's hard to do, and most people are not used to measuring themselves. The one thing I would say is, do not go to a regular tailor shop. Don't go to like Men's Warehouse or someplace. You stole my next point. And ask them to take your measurements, because they don't know what they're doing.
And they don't care. It's if you go to Men's Warehouse or something like that, you're going to say, hey, here's the measuring instructions from this kilt company's website. Can you take my measurements? And oftentimes they're going to go, yeah, sure. And, basically read it over and go, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And they're just going to measure. And you're not buying it from them. You're asking them a favor. So if you do this, offer to throw them a couple bucks as a tip, if nothing else. But what we have found most often is when there's a problem with the length or a problem with the waist, when we call somebody and say, hey, are you sure about this measurement? They'll be like, oh, of course I'm sure. I went to Today's Man and they measured me, and that's my immediate record scratch moment. Stop. Okay, throw those measurements out. Do it the way we asked you to do it on the website. Don't trust what they're saying, because they are not invested in the final product like you are. And that's not saying they're bad people. They're measuring you the way they normally measure,
Right.
not the way that we're necessarily asking them to measure.
They're going to make their assumptions. They're going to use their shorthand, and they're going to measure you like they're measuring for a pair of pants.
Yep. So yes, absolutely measure it the way we ask you to measure. Now, what Erik was alluding to earlier about the kilt towel measurement, or the bath towel, not kilt towel, the bath towel or the beach towel is for measuring length. If you're 6 foot tall and your measurement should be about 24, take a beach towel, take a bath towel, go into your bedroom, stand about 10 feet back from the mirror in a pair of boxer shorts, and fold the bath towel or the whatever over to about 24 inches top to bottom. Then wrap that around you, holding the top of the bath towel about inch and a half, 2 inches above the belly button, and see where it hits you on the knee. If it's hitting you bottom of the knee, then kind of scooch it down a little bit. If it's the top of your knee, scooch it up a little bit. I was actually doing the physical measurement there too. That was accurate for the record.
One scooch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But scooch it up or down a little bit so that you are getting it to exactly where it needs to be. Then lay it flat and measure the bath towel top to bottom, and you'll get a better physical representation of how long the kilt will be on your body.
Yeah, and the trick with that is make sure you don't stand too close to the mirror so you don't get an optical illusion. You want, like you said, 10 feet or so if you can do it.
Yeah.
And again, get a second pair of eyes on it. Get somebody who can look at you and say, that looks a little long, dude, and get some backup.
Yep, indeed.
There you go.
Have you ever gotten a kilt that didn't quite fit the way that you expected out of the box? Hopefully not. Hopefully it wasn't from us. Anyway, when you measure yourself for a kilt, make sure you are contacting the company and or using their measuring instructions and following the way they want you to do it. If you have any questions, reach out to them directly and make sure they walk you through the process to make sure you're comfortable and getting a kilt that is made just for you. Remember, if you like the videos you're seeing, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to shop with us, do go check us out. We're over at usakilts.com.